We do it.
Yeah, here we are. Hey, you guys. Welcome
Hey,
to our very first episode. We are diving into topic here. So these are spirit snacks, quick tips.
I'm having my snack as we're doing this. This is amazing. If anybody goes to Trader Joe's, you got to try these. They're these little crunchy rice balls.
Yeah, great.
Anyway,
Another reminder that there's no Trader Joe's on Hawaii.
sorry. I'll
Hawaii.
send, I'll mail them to you.
You can mail me a box of Trader Joe's treats, snacks.
Mm-hmm.
So we are diving in today in how to hashtag ZFG off the mat. So earmuffs, kids, these are adult conversations, and here we go. So what is ZFG and what is the mat?
The mat, whenever you have an intentional practice that you are doing, such as going to yoga, meditation, maybe you have a meditation group, maybe you're having fun pulling affirmation cards, or you're going to church, or you're getting ready to do a prayer before bed. Those are your intentional structured moments that you give yourself to dive in and be connected. So that's the mat.
That's the mat. But even if you're brand new, I think a lot of you haven't even set those intentional habits yet. And if you haven't, it's just the time that you feel zen, you feel connected, you feel peace. It's like that.
Yeah, it could even be like a hike or going to the beach and laying out. That could be your mat.
In your car by yourself. Anytime you feel peace, flow, joy, you feel good, you feel love. That's the mat.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're talking about.
And ZFG is zero, what's given.
Yep.
So, just not given a what when you're on that mat, which is pretty much what's happening anyway, because you're grounding and you're connecting with yourself. So in order to do those two major things, which is coming into your body and being with your body, you can't really put attention outside of yourself. Otherwise you'll lose balance. You'll lose that momentum that you have that's geared inward. You can get to that point where you're able to integrate both, but really we're talking about not giving so much of a what to everything going on around you, being able to stay centered, stay aligned. How easy is that when you're raising kids, or you're in a fast-paced career, or you're a caregiver, or whatever? It's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge, especially in our culture.
Yeah. And it's also a challenge. I mean, we're adding, if you don't know us yet, you'll understand that we are very, this is for humor. It's to lighten the load on these deep conversations. So, which we don't need to explain. You'll get it in the title alone, and that's probably calling you to listen to this or not, right? But for someone like me who was born very sensitive, people pleasing, anxious, these are all things I've still healing through, still work on. ZFG is for me to really, truly, of course I care about people and our world and humanity. I care probably too much. So ZFG gives me permission to focus.
Yeah. You're giving yourself permission to do what?
Permission to focus back in and reconnect to self. And at 44, finally learning that is the most important thing. And worrying about everybody else is really not my business.
So here's an example, because we forgot to start off with this. Here we are, blah, 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 blah. We both just had some avocado toast. She had hers in Kauai and I had mine in California. So I don't know about you, La, but I'm feeling like this rush of I'm like, yeah, like I feel like I just got a second wind because I hadn't eaten yet. So here we are, we're like chatter. But let's take this moment to practice that ZFG moment. Let's take a ZFG moment and maybe just close your eyes and just settle into yourself. Best, most accessible way is through the breath, because that's always happening. And just noticing the quality of bringing in the air, that cool air, as it gets warm and softened in through your nostrils, and sending it through your body, and then exhaling that. Exhaling completely and thoroughly through your nose or your mouth. Sometimes it's so nice when you're alone and you can just let it out. ZFG. And there's your moment right there.
That's really kind of as simple as it can be. I heard a great quote last week when I was listening to another wise woman talk, and she was saying, connection is not hard. It's not hard at all. It's actually just doing it. It's just doing it. And that struck a chord for me because I kept making it this thing. I had to have this huge practice, and it's not. It's exactly what we just
it becomes hard. Then you start thinking, oh, it's so hard to connect, but it's not. You know what the hardest part is? The hardest part is just getting out of your way. Just getting out of your own way.
Yeah.
Because you're always connected. You're always breathing. Your heart's always pumping.
That's a good point right there. Yeah. That's a really great thing to realize too, that I heard yesterday in a talk, was that connection is always there for you. So whether you believe in God, spirit guides, angels, divine, whatever it is that you believe, the earth, it's sitting right there. It's as if you have a posse around you 24/7. I mean, really take that in for a minute, because that makes me well up, and that is my connection piece. And so I'm a sensitive person. I cry easy. And to me, it's just remembering that I'm always supported, and actually, and if you are biblical, if you believe in God, then it's the Holy Spirit inside of you. So whatever it is for you, that it never leaves. It's always right there. So literally just breathing for 30 seconds, you could set an alarm on your phone on the hour and just train yourself to tap in, or 3 times a day or what have you,
So one thing we did do a couple months ago now, and it's become a big part in my practice, is using the elements. And the elements of, you could take it simple, like just a nature object that you go on a walk and you bring in a beautiful rock, or maybe a bouquet of wildflowers, or a stick, or something that you found appealing, and you bring it into your space, or you bring it into your car. And instead of, like, you could do Post-it notes and stick it up, or set an alarm on your phone, but you could take it to the next step where it's like an actual element of the earth that is really representing a grounding moment that you take every time you look at it. And maybe it's as much of taking one single deep breath. But for me, I've created little altar spaces around my home to help honor that. And that's my connection piece when I'm not on a mat, or I'm not, in a space that I can fully dive in. But I can take those quick little moments as reminders to get my brain out of the way and just come back into my body.
Some easy things to do, which might sound, now this is where we might sound woo, whatever, but is to literally wear an element. So when I wear feather earrings, or I wear a stone around my chest, I'm remembering. If I don't have jewelry on, you can put a crystal or a rock in your pocket.
Or a pebble, or a stick, or whatever. Yeah.
You can, and you just put your hand in your pocket, and it's so funny, I'll forget it's there. And then the moment that my 4-year-old's flipping out, I'll reach in my pocket almost unconsciously and just start to hold it, you can go put your bare feet on the ground anywhere. Just get it on the ground, off cement, on grass, or what have you. Or just looking at nature. If you're in an office or whatever, just bring a plant onto your desk, or observe nature, or listen to nature somehow.
So these aren't superficial things that we're doing. It's what they are. They're like Post-its. They're like 3D Post-its that we're keeping on us at all times.
Like 3D Post-its.
Especially in the beginning. If this is difficult to remember to come back, you start using what's around you to help remind you. I mentioned that I make little altars. Well, really what an altar is just a little space that you designate that's going to help remind you to make a connection. That's all it is. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It can be very, very, very simple.
Yep.
But
so
sister gets elaborate because sister's an artist. So I take mine kind of to the next level. Sometimes I don't, but it's fun. It's creative. Be creative with it.
Yeah, just there's no wrong. Put it that way too. I think sometimes we get into this practice when you're type A or you're just not used to these kinds of things. You know, not everybody takes yoga. Not everybody understands meditation quite yet. And it's just there's no wrong. Whatever brings you peace, you know what I mean?
Right.
It could be, or just a feeling of ease.
Mm-hmm.
So these are all things that we're giving you tips to do when you're already in your life and life is going, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're mothering, when you're at work, when you're running your errands, and you're just feeling like you're getting too wound up in it all and you need to get back on your mat. That's what we're talking about. One thing I want to offer too is if you can establish, like my sister keeps saying, if you can start a practice for 5 minutes a day, I kid you not, if you could just start, set an alarm on your phone, get up before your kids, or just do it when you have that 5 minutes because they're, oh my God, they're playing or whatever, you know.
Even a minute, like
even a minute.
Sometimes 5 minutes in the beginning, even where I'm at now, sometimes it's just too much.
Yeah, that's true. 1 minute.
Or giving yourself a few breaths.
Yep. Just having it, because to me, it's a preventative action. And
I like that part.
That's been pivotal in my growth because it's easier for me to go back and remember if I know how to do it, right? And just 30 seconds of breathing. There's free breathing apps. There's free guided meditation apps. There's free white noise apps.
And a preventative to what, Law?
Because if I know how to connect already, like the more I do the connection when I'm on my mat, then when I'm off the mat, it's easier to go back to because my body and my heart and my soul understand how to go back there easier. It's harder when you're in it. So you got to you're teaching yourself a new exercise. You're teaching yourself how to develop a new muscle. And this is your spiritual muscle. This is your connected muscle. And you've got to look at it like you're going to the gym for just like you did develop a bicep. It's the same thing. So you're just giving yourself that regular practice. Right. So that's about it, really. Any last words? We want to kind of
how long has that been? Oh, we don't know, huh? I don't have it.
Almost 10 minutes. It's about 10 minutes.
Oh, really? Okay. I think it would be interesting if we had time, and maybe this would be like a full course meal, is talking more about what it means to give a you-know-what, like where that comes from. And and to me, I would look at it more about our attachments to having expectations and what the outcomes are. And
this is
you know,
y'all. This is
and then having examples of our emotional responses to what happens outside of ourselves. I mean, that all there is a recipe for giving a you know what, and then kind of being able to start working with that and identifying when we do give a F, so that we can start to kind of bring that mat out into our lifestyle.
Yeah. I think that happens organically anyways too.
Yeah.
And absolutely, this could be a course later. We're, as we offer these snacks, we're thinking and charting forward to maybe course and workshop ideas. But I think that will come naturally because when you start to connect instead of caring about what somebody else is doing or getting wound up in your kids' drama or whatever, when you go back to yourself, I think you'll start to just intuitively and naturally realize why you were doing that in the first place.
Yeah, there's integrity. Also, real quick before we close, I loved your piece about making this become a preventative. I also kept feeling like this is a really amazing practice if you have issues around setting boundaries, because when you use these tools, huge. When you use these tools of,
oh my gosh,
making yourself,
that's another snack, y'all. We'll do one on boundaries.
But making yourself come first and not giving a you know what off the mat, you're creating a very protected, you even said protection, but you're creating this protective layer of boundaries, invisible boundaries around you, because you're bringing it in. You're coming inward and you're making that connection. And when you honor that, when you use those few breaths or the 5 minutes of being with yourself a day to honor that, you're going to have more, I'm losing my thought train. You'll have more integrity with yourself and with your purpose. You'll have a greater connection with what matters to you, not what's out here so much. All that will actually start to line up with what's going on within.
And that's another snack too.
That's a huge snack, because that shifts everything. That shifts relationships, the people that you're connected to, your job, all that.
That snack is called how to RSVP to the party that you're already at. Talk about that. We'll talk about that later, but absolutely. And
yeah.
It really, I mean, we could go on, but it really deep dives into, but just to quick reminders so that way you can start this and do this.
Yeah. So take your snack homework. Go make yourself a snack today. Go walk out in nature and grab a little pebble or a leaf or a twig and put it in your pocket.
Yep.
Take a deep breath.
Take a deep breath.
Mm-hmm. And
one time my sister said to me, you've got to be like water and oil. You got to let things roll off for you. And it's like a Bob Marley, like being a stoner without being stoned, right? Just like letting it roll off of you. And that's another vision sometimes I have in my head of just letting things almost like they can't, water and oil don't mix. So just let it roll.
Yeah.
Being less disturbed. Yeah.
Nice. I don't remember saying that, but I love that. Maybe I did. Yeah, whatever.
Time of need.
Anyways,
it was at a time of need. Anyway.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back with more snacks later.
More snacks.
Yeah. Aloha.